So, ladies and gentlemen, we have former WWE superstar Brodus Clay on the air with us. Chris Dumpy will be conducting an interview. Thanks again, Brodus, and Chris, take it away.
Hey, Brodus, welcome to Wrestling 365. How are you doing today?
Oh, man, I'm good, man.
Oh, that's awesome. That's awesome. Brodus, I'm not here to, kiss your butt or anything like that, but we've had Hall of Famers on our show before, various big-name stars, and you were one of the guys that was really, this is probably the most excited I've been about doing an interview. There's just something about you since I first seen you, there was something about your backstory and your look and all that stuff that was just very intriguing to me that I thought, just reeked of a future superstar. And for whatever reason, it just seemed like you were held back during your time in WWE. But we see the huge rub you got, after being on NXT with Alberto Del Rio at WrestleMania. And, after that, we had all these awesome vignettes, showing your initial debut into WWE. And then there was a lot of, speculation about when you were finally going to debut, under this new, after all these vignettes and everything, only for you to come out as, this new gimmick, the Funkasaurus, that kind of, made everybody go, what, where did this come from? It seemed to just come out of left field. I mean, was it like a last-minute decision to give you the Funkasaurus gimmick, or was it something they were planning for a while just to swerve the audience? Or can you just explain to me how the whole Funkasaurus gimmick, came to fruition, considering all the vignettes that were being shown over the weeks portraying you as a big monster heel?
Right. It's kind of a combination of the two. Initially, I had spent the last 7 or 8 months, or a better part of a year, training with the idea that I was going to be the Juggernaut, Planet X, Brodus Clay, Destroy, all that stuff. And those vignettes and stuff was a lot of hard work. And then just seeing me in the back, cracking jokes and just being, myself or whatever, my boss said, are we sure this is the right way we want to go? And so what if we do this instead? And I was kind of taken surprised by it, and I was a little nervous. I didn't know if I could even pull that off, to be honest with you, because it was kind of, the dancing stuff really isn't who I am at all. Cracking jokes and smiling and stuff like that. Yeah, I can do that all day. I'm joking around my boys all the time. I'm always running my mouth and stuff and talking trash and things like that, but I never really thought of myself as a dancer. You know what I'm saying? So the first thing I did was asked to go see the American Dream and figure things out. And so I went down with him, and I just happened to bump into Naomi, and I said to her, I need your help, because I knew her background with Orlando Magic. And then we pitched the idea, I pitched the idea to have 2 girls, and we picked Cameron as the second, and worked with Dusty a couple times, and then kind of came up with something, play with it, and the cool thing about it was nobody knew about it. Everyone was expecting this one thing, and we were able, to this day of the internet and Stooges and all that kind of stuff, nobody really talked about it. So, and there was a lot of people that were kind of rolling out, it's not going to work, and things like that. But, was given it, what I would say, a challenge, and I thought I did pretty well with the challenge put in front of me. And it was completely out of the box of anything I had prepared myself for, but it worked out okay. And now when I look back at it, I'm proud of it. But and it was something that I think I can always be aggressive and ruthless in the ring, but I don't think I'll ever really have an opportunity to be like the Funkasaurus again. So I'm kind of thankful for that time, because for me it was a chance just to be a character and have fun. And honestly, the reactions that I got from the kids or whatever just made me want to just do more and more of it. So I enjoyed that, seeing the smiles and the dances and the videos they would send me on Twitter and YouTube and stuff like that was really cool. Never expected that. So.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I mean, I'm sure a lot of people really didn't expect it to get over, but I think once they finally seen your personality and what you put into it, that you did a great job. I mean, a lot of people were comparing you to the Junkyard Dog as far as bringing the fans in, the little kids that's into the matches and dancing with you and everything. I mean, how do you feel about all that?
I mean, that just to be in the same sentence as JYD, I'll take it. And for a while, I was even throwing his thump in there whenever I got a chance. But that to me is kind of JYD. I remember him just as a kid. He did his thing, you know, and most of the time that I knew him was when it was WWF, and he would come out, do his stuff, and you know, and thump, and everyone liked him. But you know, his Mid-South stuff, he was probably, and I didn't see a lot of that until later in life, just the ability to get DVDs and things like that. But he was as big a superstar as there was in wrestling in his time. So, and it was the same thing. Like the kids and the families loved him, and you know, and he got a lot of good people put around him, and you know, he got some pretty good pushes. The WWF never really was in the championship picture, but like he had some great feuds. Like I think him and Harley Race's feud is probably my favorite. You know, him and Greg the Hammer Valentine was pretty good too. But, he was just one of those guys you could throw him in any situation and the crowd would go nuts. You know, him and Orndorff had a pretty good feud for a while too. So but yeah, like just to be in that same category is a tremendous honor.
Yeah, that's all speaker. You talk about the older wrestling and stuff. I know a lot of the superstars of today really are big history buffs, and as far in respect the old tradition of professional wrestling. So, I mean, obviously you were a huge fan growing up watching professional wrestling, correct?
Yep, and I still am today. Like that will never waver. That will never change. Like you can't control all the the political stuff and who makes decisions and things like that. But once that bell rings, it's to be entertained or whatever, and I'll continue to always be a wrestling fan.
Yeah. Earlier in the interview, you brought up the Funkadactyls, Naomi and Cameron. What was your relationship with them? You know, outside of just portraying the characters on TV. I mean, did you guys have a good working relationship backstage? Would you consider them friends? What is your relationship with the Funkadactyls today?
I would say Naomi and I, we trained together at FCW, so we were always cool, and I'm real good friends with her husband. So we kind of trained. When I went to her, because I always thought she was so talented. That almost the Funkadactyls, being a Funkadactyl was almost a step back for her, but it was the way to go. And she helped me a lot with the dancing and the rhythm and stuff. And she always brings her A game to work, and she's just really cool to be around. And Cameron was, we had our ups and downs. She was really new in the business. She only been, I think, signed maybe 3 months, so kind of got thrown into the fire. And anytime you get thrown into the fire, you make mistakes here and there. But overall, they're both talented, good people, and I enjoyed my time with them. And they worked hard, and that's all I really asked of them. But like anything, we had our ups and downs, and some of the things were blown out of proportion just for TV ratings and stuff on the like the whole diva, the whole the boyfriend thing and all that stuff was like, it was more like a joke to me. I was like, but whatever, they gotta sell stories.
Yeah.
I get that. So, but I mean, for the most part, we never really had a big problem. If we had disagreements, we talked it out. But
Yeah, I got you. You also had Tensai, who was another guy that came in portraying the monster character, and I kind of felt bad for him. It seemed like the crowd never really, gave him a chance because of his days with Albert, even though he went over to Japan and reinvented himself and, came back as Lord Tensai, and they looked like they were giving him a major push right out of the gate, working with John Cena and then the main event. And then the crowd just seemed to just never give him an opportunity. And then that's when he got an opportunity to team up with you and create tons of funk. What was it like working with Sweet Tea?
Oh man, I loved it. Like he's got one of the best minds in wrestling in terms of like putting matches and stuff and strategizing and things like that. And to go back, to my opinion with the Tensai thing, I think. It wasn't so much that it could come across or anything in the fans. I like the fact that the fans would chant his old name and they'd be mad at him and and all that kind of stuff, because that's what being a heel was all about, in my opinion. Growing up, they weren't necessarily cool.
Yeah.
People did, people's reactions were great because they were reacting. They were upset, they were bothered. And they're like, your outfit's stupid, and I hate you. And that to me is perfect. I mean, that's what being a heel is all about, you know. You don't want to sell. Heels don't sell merch. Heels aren't cool. You know what I'm saying? Like people, they come out, they go, I don't want to watch this guy, and they hope that the other guy comes out and beats him up because they can't stand him. Another thing was that probably didn't help was that was Big Show at the time. I mean, timing's everything, but Big Show had just got fired, just punched Cena in the face. He was now with, you know, Laurinaitis, so all that big monster, like, heat and heel stuff kind of went Big Show's way, you know, like, just kind of got his right place, wrong time. I think if they would have been paired up together, I think it would have been fine. I just think that, you know, sometimes just, you know, timing's everything, but then, you know, but then if that stuff didn't happen, then we wouldn't have backed up together, so, and, you know, I'm just disappointed we weren't able to capture a championship together, but, I did enjoy our time together, and, you know, and then the breakup, you know, my frustration, you know, led to the breakup and all that stuff, but, you know, looking back on it, it was time for me to do my own thing, but, to get away from everybody, but, I am thankful for our time together, you know, like, we're cool.
Was there supposed to be like any bigger plans following your guys' breakup? I know Xavier Woods was involved in that whole little storyline.
True,
yeah. So I expected some bigger things from Brodus Clay following that, but it just seemed like you were never given the opportunity following the breakup, and you were working a lot down in NXT. Was there supposed to be bigger plans for that storyline, or they were just going with the flow on that one?
Your guess is as good as mine. I mean, in my mind, sky was the limit. You know, I was in my mind preparing myself to go after, you know, Cena, to go after, you know, Punk, to go after, you know, somebody. To go after a championship. You know, go after Big E Langston, and I'm sorry, Big E now, my bad. You know, all that kind of stuff. Like that was in my mindset. Or maybe even, you know, collaborate, maybe work with, you know, Alberto again under different circumstances, or you know, watch, you know, Randy and Batista or something like that. So in my mind, that's what I was thinking. But just, you know, I had the promo on the Miz show, and I kind of thought that really would launch things, and it just didn't. And after that, I was just kind of sitting in the bullpen and volunteering to do stuff. You know, the NXT thing I thought was a great opportunity to show the aggressive side of me, and you know, when it was, and I like that feud with Neville, and I'll stand behind that. So I mean, there's no shame in my game. I didn't feel like I was one of those guys who stopped getting better. I feel like I was one of those guys who wasn't trying to improve. You know, but I was one of those guys that didn't like not contributing, and I didn't like sitting on the sideline. And I was pretty vocal about it. You know, I just didn't like it. Sometimes it's better to be let go and to do your own thing than to sit. You know, you're only physically able to do this for so long, and sitting for 2 years and not doing anything, to me, it was way worse than you know, being let go to do other things. And the response I've gotten since, you know, stepping out away from the WWE, you know, different promotions. Keep doing my thing, and you know, it's really about the love of wrestling. So, I mean, the WWE is the greatest, biggest company on earth. We all know that. They're number one, clearly, but that doesn't mean that there isn't a lot of great places to work. You know, a lot of great guys out there to put on great shows, and a lot of opportunity out there. You know, and you want to know if what Brodus Clay can do. Well, this is a perfect example. You know, opportunity for me to go out and do my thing. You know.
Yeah, for sure. You brought up Adrian Neville. What was it like working in NXT with some of those young guys? What do you think of guys like Neville and Sami Zayn and some of those guys' future, you know, coming up to the main roster and World Wrestling Entertainment moving forward?
You know, I think the sky's the limit for those guys. You know, they're all, there's everybody who reaches the WWE has spectacular talent. I mean, it's just like being in the NFL, the NBA, you know, being like, you know, on a major TV show, like it's a top brand, you know. So anybody who's there is a star, you know. Whether they get used or not the way they want to be or whatever, that's another question. But you know, they're all talented guys and they get their shot, and you know, I wish them nothing but the best. You know, I really don't have anything bad to say about anybody I really worked with or anything like that, because you know, everybody was professional and trying to do their thing, and I've always carried myself like that. So.
Yeah, while you were with Sweet Tea, I mean, you had a series of matches with the Wyatt family upon their arrival into the main roster, but a lot of those were squash matches. But it seemed like when you guys finally got the opportunity to shine, I know quite a few of your best matches, in my opinion, was some of the tag team matches you guys had against the Shield. What was it like working with the Shield and the Wyatt family, and what do you think their potential is moving forward as well?
I mean, well, you know, the Wyatts, I mean, you know, Bray has changed the game, and
oh, absolutely.
You know, all those, and you know, those guys are great. I mean, they're great. I mean, they're awesome. And we got to work them a few times, and favorite matches we had with them is we had a dark match one time in Houston, and I think we were only supposed to, you know, 5 or 6 minutes, but something happened, and it was giving us like 8 or 9, and it was just a lot of fun. And the Shield, you know, those guys, I mean, you're looking at, you know, probably the two groups that are going to run wrestling for a while in terms of the WWE, you know, and then you mix in there, you know, Evolution, and I mean, it's just, it's their time to shine, you know, and they'll probably, out of those guys, there'll be a couple guys, or maybe all of them, who knows, that will be headlining WrestleMania in the next few years to come, so. Great guys, enjoyed working with them. Brought their A game, and they're at where they're at because they did so. So nothing but respect for those guys.
What do you think about WWE? Do you think they're transitioning a little bit different? What do you think about them giving a lot of these big name indie guys an opportunity now? Guys that came from Ring of Honor, like recently CM Punk, Daniel Bryan, Cesaro. A lot of these guys, even Sami Zayn, like we already mentioned down in NXT, do you think they're changing a little bit of the game, you know, bringing a lot of these big-name indie guys up that they probably wouldn't have, you know, maybe 5 years ago? How do you feel about Triple H, you know, with the whole bringing in new talent and all that stuff with the Performance Center, and actually giving some of these independent guys chances that might not fit the model of, you know, the typical prototype WWE superstar?
Well, I'm a perfect example of not typical prototype WWE superstar. So I think you got to go with the, you know, you want the best athletes in the world, and you want the most talented, entertaining guys in the world, and so why wouldn't you? It makes perfect sense to me. If a guy is in a smaller promotion and he's world renowned, you'd be a fool not to bring him in. You know, I think. And at the same time, homegrown talent also works, you know, because I've never worked a match in my life, so I was part of the WWE. So, you know, I think it's a good mix, you know, because it takes all kinds to make a company. WWE is basically the world circus. So you got to have all different kinds and types and styles, and, you know, everybody comes from different places, and you shouldn't limit your, you know, your mindset to a certain type, because I don't think there is one. You know, if you look at all the greats, they're not all the same. Everybody was different. So, and so, you know, those guys deserve those opportunities. And I think it's just good for business. I mean, not to quote you know, like use a catchphrase or something like that, but it is good for business, and also for the fans that identify with different people and different things. They have a larger variety, you know, to turn and watch. But, you know, TNA does that, and, you know, Jeff Jarrett Promotion does that, and New Japan does that, and, you know, some of the other bigger indie promotions are doing that. Like, it shouldn't matter what the guy looks like. It should be like what the guy does in terms of entertaining and the people that act to him.
So you said you're like a big jokester backstage, and, you know, you thought you could work with the Funkasaurus gimmick because of that. Do you think you should have gotten more opportunities to speak on the mic? Do you think you would have been, you know, pretty good to be able to do some more promos given the time on the microphone, especially if you were given a bigger singles push?
I mean, I've always it's terrible. People react to me, and I mean, probably the best promo of my career was at WrestleMania. And that was just me just shooting my mouth off, about Mama playing the Bridge Club and all that kind of stuff. So, I mean, I look at stuff. I've had solid heel promos, and of course I would like to make more. Of course you want more TV time, and the more time you get, the more opportunities, the more fans get behind you and things like that. But again, I don't make those decisions, and so I can't really, speculate. I mean, would it have been better or greater? I mean, absolutely no, but it's just maybe one thing. And, but I try not to dwell on that too much, It is what it is, and just going forward, just know that, one thing I'll make sure that I am in the future, wherever I end up, working or signing or whatever, that I'm just more vocal about me and less of, like, I always just looked at whenever I was given the player told, this is what it's going to be, never really questioned stuff too much. It's just like, okay, I just did it, and looking back, if I'm not fighting for me, who else is going to? So that's maybe one of the things that I'd probably do differently. But, again, hindsight's 2020.
Brodus, you brought up the United States Championship. This was just, one of those curious questions that I was just wanting to ask you. I'm not sure how much you actually talk to creative and different things like that. Do you have any idea why WWE doesn't treat their secondary titles better than what they used to be back in the day? I mean, here lately it just seems, they've been doing a lot better job probably over the past month or two, but it just seems like the Intercontinental Championship, the U.S. Championship used to be a big deal for mid-card superstars to carry, and now it's almost a kiss of death to hold the titles nowadays. I mean, how do you feel about the whole situation with how WWE utilizes not only the secondary championships, but they seem to be inconsistent with their booking and tag teams as well, as you had a lengthy tag team run with Sweet Tea?
I don't, in terms of, kiss of death, in terms of what? You have to understand, the merger of the two companies, you have the World Championship and you have the WWE Championship. So kind of that became number 1 and 2, and then with the unification of those two championships, now it has opened the door for the Intercontinental Champion and the United States Champion to get more recognition. But at the time when you have two major championships, it's just like boxing. You have the WBC and you have WBO, and you have the smaller weight champion. People recognize this champion. People recognize WBC as the undisputed champion. And I kind of think it was like the same thing. Unification of the championships obviously opens the door. Now that there is one, World WWE World Heavyweight Champion, and now the Intercontinental Championship, the United States Championship, and the Tag Team Championships are more coveted and more wanted because there's one less, slot to hold the title. So the unification, I think, of the championships changes the game for the Intercontinental Champion and the United States Champion, because traditionally those titles were established for the guys who were number one, almost like being the number 1 contender for the World Heavyweight Championship. If you were the United States Champion, you were almost guaranteed a title shot for the World Heavyweight Championship in WCW. And in the WWE, Intercontinental Champion pretty much meant you're the number 1 contender for the WWE Championship. So and some guys would capture the championship, and then they were, that's all they wanted was to be. They didn't want to take that next step, and they wanted to be, the greatest Intercontinental Champion of all time and things like that. And I think just with the unification of the championships, that they'll give more recognition. But just understand that the two top titles are coveted and so full of history, and so they kind of overshadow the other championships.
Yeah, I got you. Okay, before I let you go, we have a few questions from the fans. What was it like working that first WrestleMania, and what was it like working with a guy like Alberto Del Rio? What kind of relationship did you guys have? Was there a lot of things you got to learn from Del Rio that you took from him to put into your own game, or what was it like with Alberto Del Rio and working that first WrestleMania?
It was great. I call him El Presidente. But that's his nickname. When we were given a chance to work together, he could have said no or whatever, but he was just like brought it in and we brought it, and we worked hard together and learned a lot from him in terms of like just his psychology and his mind, the way it works and stuff like that. And we had a good plan, and we had a good relationship. And we worked with Edge and Christian. You can't really ask for a better scenario than that. And Ricardo doesn't get enough credit for as good a manager as he is. So it was literally the best of times in terms of it. And that WrestleMania and being able to put hands on Edge and T-Bone Christian out of his boots was something that I'll always, cherish.
Yeah. There's some reports that you've been working, you're already going for a few independent bookings, so obviously it doesn't look like you're finished with professional wrestling, but you did work, in the WWE Films movie No One Lives with acting. What was it like? What was your experience working on that film, and do you think there's more acting you might actually prefer, pursue in the future?
I've had the time of my life filming No One Lives, and acting is something that I'm going to pursue as well. And some guys get into Hollywood and they don't want to wrestle anymore, and I'm going to try to balance the two. Do my projects, and I don't think the wrestling bug hasn't left me. If anything, has gotten bigger. So I'm going to try to have a healthy marriage between the two, and at the same time, also cutting weight and training has become a real important thing to me, and I'll align myself with Fit Camp Studios, and I do the sensible portion meals where guys can watch their diet and their calories. They make all the meals and ship them to you, so you don't have to prepare them, which is great when you're trying to train for something. So that's taking up a lot of my time right now, and so I'm staying busy. I got a lot of stuff going on, and I'm going to Japan in September for the with the makers of the Cove, the Berry family, the protest, the dolphin hunting over there. So I got a lot of stuff on the plate, and just gonna try to juggle it and do my thing, and just get as much ring time as I possibly can.
Alright, awesome. What is something that most pro wrestling fans might not know about Brodus Clay? Maybe a hobby or something like that?
Big time Xbox guy, collect fish tanks, big cichlid guy, and Olympic powerlifting is like my favorite hobby, and something else. I like to sing in the car pretty much all the time.
Yeah.
No one's around.
Is there anybody that you traveled with while you were in WWE, maybe a travel partner, or any kind of, good road stories, good or bad, that you'd like to share with your fans?
Road stories, something that is sacred. So, my traveling buddies, Camacho, and I'm going to be tagging with Camacho. We're putting Colossal Connection Part 2 back together.
Oh, so, really? Awesome.
Me and Camacho, taking on all comers when we get the chance. But, I travel with Heath Slater and Santino and
how is Santino behind the scenes and everything?
He's exactly the same.
I can imagine.
All the time. Travel with Sando a lot. I will say one thing about Sando. He is probably the worst driver I've ever been associated with, and will do everything he can for someone to tell him just to sit in the back seat. But and he would used to drive me and Santino nuts because long trip, and he offers to drive, but say the speed limit is 65, he'll drive 45. And he'll drive somebody nuts, and we'll just pull over, get out, get in the back. So that's the one thing I'll say about travel with everything else is pretty much sacred.
Who would you say backstage or anybody helping you throughout your career was the most instrumental in, helping you and giving you advice and helping mentor you, and maybe somebody that took you under their wing to help you out and help you grow as a performer for World Wrestling Entertainment?
God, there's so many people. Obviously my first trainer, Bill DeMont. I gotta give him a lot of credit. Tommy Dreamer, the American Dream, Dusty Rhodes, Dr. Dr. Tom Pritchard, Double A on Anderson, Fit Finley, Road Dog, Mike Rotundo. You know, probably Mr. Rotundo was probably the agent I work with the most, and couldn't just ask for a more like honest, straight up guy. Just an excellent teacher.
Yeah.
There's so many. Mr. William Regal, Dave Taylor, Christian Edge, Alberto Del Rio, Big Show, Mark Henry, T.J. Wilson. Probably go to him quite a bit for technical stuff. Santino, Sandow. Oh God, I'm trying to make sure I don't want to miss anybody, but there's just so many camera guys and pyro guys, and you know, guys behind the scenes and put stuff together. You know, there's just so many guys that just were always helping, and like, you know, and I try to give back as much as I can, but I've always been my worst critic. But you know, good, bad, or indifferent. You know, certain guys like Jamie Noble, Dean Malenko. I mean, there's just so many guys that I got to work with and learn so much with.
Yeah.
And probably my all-time favorite guy, sitting on the learning tree waiting to make him Dusty Rhodes, because his stories are just great. And you know, I actually saw him like right the day before I got let go, so I'm glad I got to sit under that tree one more time with him. And just talking about stuff, you know, painting your canvas, as he says. So just a lot. There was a lot of great guys that helped me along the way, and I learned a lot from them and enjoyed it. And, you know, I'm gonna keep on doing what I do, but just thankful all the way around. I think, and if I left out anybody, my bad. But you know who you are.
Yeah. Before we got one more question left before we're gonna do this little name association thing. I'm sure you're probably not gonna have a lot to say about it, but is there anything you can say about the whole CM Punk situation that it seems like will never die or go away since the day he walked out? Is there anything you may know, or any light you may be able to shed on the whole situation?
Punk and I think over time there was mutual respect and you know, friendship. Like you, I've trained with him. He as a champion, he gave me a match on Raw, which I'll always be thankful for. Those are the ones I thought after that things were going to start picking up. You know, I thought it was a strong showing on my part, and enjoyed working with him. But you know, Punk is Punk, and he's going to do his thing. And if it doesn't concern me, I just don't worry about it. Like, I don't sweat nothing that doesn't have to do with me. Like, whatever went down between him and them, I have no idea. You know, I just know that one day he wasn't at work. And, you know, and I shoot him a text every now and then and see how he's doing or whatever, and he always takes me back. He's a class act. So, and that's kind of where I'm at with it.
Who would you say was your best in-ring opponent? Who was the best guy that you got an opportunity to work with?
Who was my, like, arch nemesis? I'd probably have to say Heath Slater. I must have whooped him 9,000 ways from Sunday. I couldn't love it. He's just one of those guys you just love to put hands on. I think he, you know, him and his jabs, he's always trying to jab like he's this great Golden Glove boxer. And it's probably his actual toughest move is his jab. He with those jabs pretty good, and then start talking, you know. But I enjoyed shooting with him. He was so easy to rile up and get upset because he would always practice these catchphrases out in the, like, all day. Like, when I whoop on you, I'm gonna say, "Oh, you're the grass and I'm the lawnmower." If he'd be practicing that all day, and then right before the bell would ring, I would yell across at him, "You're the grass, I'm the lawnmower." And he would get so upset. Like, you knew that was my words. You stole my words from me. Like, he would just get so upset. And his little face would get, like, that's another thing, dude. Getting him real red was always a favorite thing of mine. Another time, we tagged up with a honky tonk man, and honky tonk hit him with that guitar and standing over him doing the honky tonk man dance, watching his face turn red was probably one of my funniest moments. But there are so many guys I enjoyed working. You know, TJ, Sandow, you know, Tino, Punk. You know, I worked on Alberto a couple times. You know, Cody Rhodes was another guy I enjoyed working. One of my regrets is I never worked Gold Dust. But it was that whole group of guys, man. You know, just really enjoyed. R-Truth was probably, I don't think he gets enough credit. I mean, he's the first ballot Hall of Famer in my book. He's just been in it forever, and he just does it. And wherever he goes, he shines when he's given an opportunity. You know, and I enjoyed, you know, working Swagger and Cesaro, and you know, Cesaro, you know, turned a lot of heads when I think I was the first guy who always stood up in that finish like that. So just that, you know, honestly, man, I can't remember one guy I really didn't like working. So there's a lot of good guys, and you know, there's 3MB, Jinder Mahal, you know, like there's just so many guys I enjoy working, and I'll miss. That's probably the only thing I really miss is seeing the guys every day, you know, because now, you know, I mean, I'm still friends with a lot of guys, and because it was like 75 of us released in one day, you know, we'll probably cross paths working together and stuff like that. But I miss the, you know, camaraderie in the ring and stuff like that. So.
Do you believe the door's open for a return to the company?
You know what? I'm not even. The way I look at it, like, I mean, you never say anything. You know, anything's possible. Anybody would come back or whatever. But honestly, I'm excited to be moving on, and that's honestly the last thing on my mind right now. I wasn't. The last, you know, 6-7 months there, I was extremely frustrated and disappointed and just unhappy in terms of like what was going on with my character, what was going on with me. So you know, it's time for new things, and there's so many things out there I want to do with so many guys I want to work. So I'm focused on that right now. You know, just like the first time I got let go, I never in my mind thought, you know, like, oh, I'm gonna wait a few months and call them back. They actually called me to come back. So, and that's how I'm gonna treat it. You know, you make enough bang, and you know, we'll see what happens. But right now, I'm not thinking that way at all.
Not to really like mention any names, I wouldn't expect you to do that, but it is a lot of the truth. You know, is there a lot of truth behind a lot of politicking going on backstage as far as, you know, people's characters and, you know, where they're placed on the card and things like that? I mean, does that really go on as much as people really think it does backstage? And do you think you maybe should have been more vocal about where you were placed on the card?
Obviously, I definitely probably should have been more vocal, but that's just me and part of my personality. Like, I'm a big guy. Like, you earn things, you don't ask for things. But that's me or whatever. As far as like politics and stuff like that, since I never really did it, I can't really comment on it. I don't know if that's what goes on. I'm assuming decisions are made and meetings and stuff, and I was never in those meetings, so I really can't say anything. I don't know anything about it. You know.
All right. To cap off the interview, we're going to do a little name association. I'm going to say a name and then just say the first thing that comes to mind when you think of them. Okay. First person on the list, Alberto Del Rio.
El Presidente.
Chris Jericho. I mean, you could probably say a sentence or two, whatever comes to your
yeah.
mind for either or.
Movies. Every time I go out to a movie, I run into Chris Jericho.
Oh, okay. What about Tensai, Sweet Tea?
Cranium. Biggest head
What
ever.
about, Damian Sandow?
Friend.
Okay. Dolph Ziggler?
Welp.
John Cena?
Oh man, what's my nickname for him? Every time I see him, I say the same thing. Sensei.
Oh, what's that all about?
Sensei, he's the top guy.
Oh, okay. I got you. Daniel Bryan.
Worker.
Okay. What was it like working with Triple H and Vince McMahon? how much interaction did you get with those guys? How?
When I was doing the Funkasaurus quite a bit in the beginning. Vince, the boss was always, for me, he was like my Jim Henson growing up. Like, he was like the man behind the scenes that made it all possible. So I always kind of kept, my relationship like that was the boss. That's just how I saw him. And speaking or spoken to was always kind of my deal. And Triple H was cool. I always enjoyed talking boxing and stuff with him.
Got you.
So,
well, Brodus, before we let you go, is there anything you would like to promote or advertise about any upcoming bookings, or how somebody can get in contact with you if they would like to book you for an upcoming show or anything like that?
There's you can check my Twitter account for like booking information, and then if people are out there interested in the sensible portion meals, there's a number that they can call, for shipping and all that kind of stuff, and I'll put that up on Twitter after this stuff. And if you can for me, that'd be cool. But
yes.
Just the emails and stuff that I think I put a couple up on the thing today, and I'll put some more up. So just always check my Twitter.
All right, for sure. All right, Brodus. Well, like I said, I was really excited to get to do this interview. This was probably the most anticipated one I've had to do, and it was an absolute pleasure talking to you. And I would love to have you on it. I would love to have you back on the show anytime in the future. Wish you nothing but the best of luck, moving forward in your career, and I'd love for you to stay in touch with us, and we would love to have you back on the show again down in the future.
Awesome, I sure will.
All right, thanks a lot, Brodus.
All right, man.
All right, bye.